looks like we're all here, so we'll call this meeting to order, and if you join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. All right, can we have a roll call?
Mr. McKinnon. Mrs. DeFort. Mrs. Wynne Stanley.
Here.
Mrs. Clark Pearson.
Here.
Mr. Shiflett. Here. Mrs. Wassick.
Here. All right, well, first of all, welcome everybody. Our first item on our agenda is the approval of our agenda items. If I could have a motion.
I move the Grand Ledge Public Schools Board of Education approve the August 28, 2017 agenda items as presented.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion passes. We have an agenda. The second item is the approval of our consent agenda items, and on that consent agenda is meeting minutes from July 10 regular meeting and our August 14 work session and closed session. We also have teacher hiring, actually 2 teacher hirings at 8th grade science and a Grand Ledge High School English position. So if I could have a motion.
I move the Grand Ledge Public Schools Board of Education approve the August 28, 2017 consent agenda items as presented. Support.
All right. Any questions by anybody on the board, or? Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Do we have any of our new teachers here tonight? Okay, all right. Well, we'll welcome you via camera and TV broadcast anyway, and welcome to Grand Ledge. We have several reports. First one being the Capital Connections report, and I think that's you, John?
In short this evening, they are still in their in-district summer work period, which is the time of year when they go back to the district to meet with constituents and try to glean information of how they want to be represented. That said, something to keep an eye on when we do come back next week would be a possible veto override on the sales tax on the difference. The sales tax on the difference has general fund and I think school aid implications as well. And I know Sarah and I have talked about it at length, and we both think that it's generally one of the least common sense approaches to handling how you calculate sales tax possible. And then, the desire to speed it up is not only silly, but misguided. And so that still may happen.
Right, and in fact, that was done as, the original deal was done with some trading and some negotiation, and so it's sort of like backing off of the original deal, and only exacerbates the problem we're going to have by 2020. It sounds like a great deal, but it is a deal made by people who won't be there to clean up the mess when it actually goes into full swing. So,
Do you anticipate that that'll happen without much opportunity to
Considering that it passed fairly handily in
any
both
influence by the
chambers,
public?
I think that, we'll see. I mean, because right now would be the time to write, and so would have been when it was in both chambers. But I think if they do pull the trigger on a veto override, it'll go pretty fast. Because it's just 2 votes and then we're done.
and the Senate Minority Leader also supports the override, doesn't he? I mean,
It's got a lot of support from people who won't be here to write the budget in 2020 when that comes due, and then all of the $600 million that are supposed to be earmarked for roads, plus the additional tax credits for both Thrive and Good Jobs. And so I think if anybody tries to guess what's going to happen with the general fund and school aid fund in 2020, you can probably pick winning lottery numbers with better success.
right. The $1 billion that was given as a tax credit for the Michigan Thrives or My Thrive, which is really really was for the Dan Gilbert projects in Detroit, and the Good Jobs it started before Foxconn, but that's really kind of was targeted at them. They won't, they have to get their construction completed before they could get credit. So even though those were approved now and theoretically they could use them fairly soon, those credits won't be actually used until 2020, and at 2020, it's cumulative. So whatever was approved this year, the 40 million to be used this year, gets approved for the next year and the next year. So it's, 2020 is going to be an extremely different year. And that, we gotta hope that this economy continues to chug along as much as it is, because any downturn, and these are just going to be, it's amazing. It's almost like I think they must be on something, that they're doing all this.
Yeah.
But
Retire and leave.
why couldn't they be like school board members
And
and be
stick
sensible?
around. Oh, and be sensible, okay, I was gonna say, and not
I mean-
be on.
I would point out that this school board gave a bonus after the close of the year when we knew what money we had, and that a lot of that money came from our good stewardship, and frankly, a lot of the work by the superintendent to make Eaton Risa responsive to our needs, and a lot of that money was coming from them. And we do good work here. I wish the legislature could be as good as,
Well, when we're not being
Us.
thwarted by legislators. who
well,
are
that's true.
Giving away our
Local
revenue
control.
sources.
Yes.
And local control. All right.
That ends my report.
Oh, thank you.
And that ends my whining.
Okay, well, we're going to hope that Mr. Bennett brings a better report from the Eaton Risa.
Yeah, that's
And
right.
Thank you and welcome.
Well, thank you. I'll start with the tax issue that we were just talking about, $2 to $3 million hit on school aid fund potential. So there you go. There's your good news. Okay, new slate of officers for the ERISA. Mark Rushford will be serving as president, Jack Temsey as vice president, myself as secretary, Max Baxter as treasurer, and we have a new appointee from Eaton Rapids to replace Deb Disbrow. Deborah Roberts will be our new trustee from Eaton Rapids. We had our welcome back on August 17th, full house. We obviously brought back a lot of parapros that had previously worked for the RISA, had then been employed by Grand Legend, and are now employed by the RISA again, so full house there. We are looking at reduction in Great Start slots from the state this year, so we lost about 20 slots or so in Great Start. We awarded a playground bid to Sinclair Recreation for a new playground at Packard for our special education students. We've got some additional agreements for our CTE program, AIS Construction, Olivet College, and Powder Park Zoo for some programs there. And some additional new programs this year. We have a Business Academy that we're running with Davenport, Game Design and Programming Academy that we're also running with Davenport, and then a Medical Assisting Academy, which is also being run with Davenport. So lots of good things happening on the CTE front. So that's what I have for ERISA.
We're going to have a zoo school?
They're going to have a zoo school. They've got an agreement with the Lansing Zoo on some veterinarian and zoological biology kind of, yeah.
All right, for just high school students at?
Yes.
Yeah, yep,
Yes,
through the CTE,
okay.
yep.
Nice, fun.
So, and the
Okay.
AIS construction, this is the one that I like. They get to drive the equipment.
Oh.
They get to learn how to drive the equipment. So the dump trucks and the backhoes and, play in big sandboxes.
Don't you wish you were
Yeah.
in high school again?
Yeah,
Yes.
that's- exactly.
I
That's what
see
I'm
it.
saying.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. So, thank you.
All right, well, thank you for that. Governance Committee. The Governance Committee met several weeks ago and mostly looked at the new legislation and the new legal requirements that districts are required to do with reporting and with discipline and
Seclusion
zero
restraint.
tolerance. And you saw activity in your board packets related to that in the last couple meetings, and so that was the last time we met. Grand Ledge Education Foundation report.
We had a meeting on August 21st and are moving forward with Night of the Stars. That's going to replace the Breakfast of Champions. And that's tentatively scheduled for October 25th, which is a Wednesday at the high school in the cafeteria. We have a new board member, April Welton, and April's here tonight, so we're happy to see that we're growing. We reviewed the bank statements and accepted Jim Winstanley's resignation from the treasurer position, so we're looking to fill that position. About $8,000 was raised from the race, which is one of the primary fundraising, and that's comparative to past years. The grant applications are out. Kim got those sent out for us. Thanks, Kim. Those are due October 6th, and then we will be meeting, we have our next 2 meetings scheduled for more organization for the Night of the Stars and the reviewing the grants when they come in, the applications.
All right. Thank you. Any questions from anybody? Okay, Patrick?
Parks and Rec. The big thing that remained on the agenda was the splash pad. We have 7 days left, and I believe I checked earlier today, and they were just under $4,000 needed for the $33,333. The goal, because that'll be tripled by I think a state grant and, well, 2 different state grants, but the money needs to be raised by Labor Day. I think we'll get there, and that'll be exciting moving towards splash pad for the kids in J.C. Park. Fund balance remains high at 53,000 plus. Moving the park still going on, waiting on the art. Bike racks to be placed outside the island, and I believe one
Library?
maybe it was across the bridge. I don't remember where the other one was, but and that was from a art grant that we've received before, and we received again.
So the deadlines on the splash pad donations, is that imposed by those state grants?
Correct.
Okay. And how do people make donations if they want to donate before Labor Day?
You can go to the Parks and Rec website, and there's, it will show you exactly how many people have donated. It shows you where the donations are at, as far as how much has been collected. If you go to www.saleebrandmuch.com, you can look at the Parks and Rec, and there'll be a link there. And it should give you a little video, a rendering of what the splash pad should
Okay.
look like.
Great. Thank you.
Are they planning on having that fall race with both kayaking? Do you have the dates on that?
No.
Okay, thanks.
It's the last Saturday of September, I believe.
Yes, sir, thank you. I usually volunteer for it, but
Yep, I just saw something posted, so it is going to be held.
thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Superintendent's report.
Just a couple of items. First of all, we've had a great start to the new year. Had about 5,200 smiling faces arrive last Monday, and for a early start, it was a really good week. Delta Mills opened as expected with an enrollment of 84 young 4-year-olds, and that building is up and running, and it's beautiful and amazing. It's great to have it open, and I think we're going to continue to see enrollment as we go forward. And we also had the community stadium open last week. Grand opening was held on August 21, and it was a great celebration. We had a couple of soccer games that night, and then our football team played on Thursday night and beat Hudsonville 41-14. So great way to open up the stadium, and it was festive and exciting. And there's just a couple of things they've got to fix or work on. We moved the visitor bleachers, and we want to have them inspected before we actually allow people to use them. So they're still trying to get some of those odds and ends done before we'll have it, what I would call, completed. But it's been a good couple weeks.
Awesome. Thank you. We've come to a time on the agenda where we can receive public comment on non-agenda items, and there'll be a second opportunity later, but does anybody have anything to address the board about right now? All right, seeing nobody moving toward the mic, we'll move on to our new business. And we have some happy business tonight. And it's a check presentation from the Knights of Columbus.
Hello, everybody. My name's Andrew Breggy. I'm the Grand Knight of Council 7311. And what we are presenting today are checks to the Grand Ledge Public School Special Education Fund totaling $3,434.40 that we've raised over the last 2 years through our MI Drive, the Tootsie Rolls that everybody sees us selling and collecting money for. So am I presenting them to you? So these are two of the guys that have helped out a lot, Dave Zerby and our former Grand Knight, Ron Piak. So we used to have a really big check, but it's gone missing. I think someone wrote it to themselves, tried to cash it. I don't know. So we're very happy and pleased to be able to present these checks. That's all. Thank you.
Well, thank you
Thank you
very
very
much.
much.
We really do appreciate the community contributions that come into our students. It makes this district just, it's just one of the things that makes this district a real pleasure to lead and to be part of. So thank you so much.
Linda, if I may, I'll jump
Yes.
in and say, we had a stormwater management presentation scheduled for this evening, and that individual contacted us earlier today with a death in the family and said he could not be here, so we will get that rescheduled. But if there's anybody at home looking at the agenda and wondering, why did that not happen? It's because there was an emergency.
All right, well, we have one more opportunity for public comment.
Thank you very much. I just want one addendum to my report earlier. Jack Temsey and myself were able to attend some professional development opportunities through MASB out at Mackinac Island a couple weeks ago. And we have upcoming opportunities here in Lansing. The fall conference for the Michigan Association of School Boards is here in Lansing this fall, so I encourage all the board members to be interested in attending some sessions to do that. Thank you very much, Denise, for the Education Foundation report tonight. I did want to add that we are still looking for additional board members, so if any of you, board members or administrators, audience, those in TV land, know of anybody that might be interested in serving on the Education Foundation board, please reach out to Tom Soul or head to our Facebook page, Grand Ledge Education Foundation on Facebook, and you can send a message there, and we'll make sure we get a hold of you. So that's what I have. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Before we get too far, there is a part on the board packet that's highlighting the SAT prep course. We're advertising that like crazy. That's really our, I hope, right? Because that 99 points as an average increase as opposed to the 30 that is typical is
It's
something
quite a
that we
leap.
should be really touting. That's outstanding. And that's not comments from the board. I think we've reached that portion.
So you're referring to the SAT skills class that juniors took in order to be ready for their
For their
spring SAT tests, yeah. Yeah, that was remarkable. That was really good news to see that. So, yeah. Like high school juniors out there, pay attention and take advantage of that. Any comments from the staff? Hope you had a good week, opening week. Good. Any comments from the board? Denise?
I had wanted to make a comment on our agenda. There were photos inserted, and I'm not sure who's responsible, perhaps Kim? I really appreciated that, and it was great to see pictures of students, groups of students or staff at all the different buildings starting their school year. I really appreciate getting that visual and seeing the kids, and thank you. Nice to see.
It's really fun to see them.
There we go. I would like to thank Ms. Rikus. I went into Jill's classroom this morning, third grade at Delta Center, and it was amazing. I got to watch her teach, and she wrote us a letter inviting us. And I just thought I had the day off, and so I asked to come in and see. And it's great to see what's going on in the classroom. And even though it's the 5th day of school, it was a well-oiled machine of 28 students, and then I followed them to lunch, and lunch was a well-oiled machine on the 5th day of school, and Ms. Buchholz does an amazing job at Delta Center, and I just wanted to say that I got to witness some of that today, and it was very impressive to see, so kudos to them.
I just wanted to say thank you to the community and all the groups that were involved in the community stadium, and the, I guess it's the rebirth of the stadium. I took a tour of it on Wednesday last week. I wasn't able to stay for the ceremony, so it really was a pleasure to watch it and to be there, and it's very impressive. Those of you who have not had a chance to go and see it should. I walked it. I spread some estrogen on the field because I understand that there were times when women were not allowed, and I proudly walked on it.
You are in such trouble.
And I just want to say thank you to all the individuals who were involved in making that a reality. Thank you.
Yeah, and in fact, driving in tonight, there was some young kids, I think they might have been middle school age, that were on the field.
Freshman,
Was that freshmen?
or I'm sorry, JV.
No, I thought,
JV.
are you sure?
Oh, Marshfield.
Yeah, no, actually, I was talking about the stadium. I looked, didn't look like they were big people, but maybe it's just that I can't see very well. But at any rate, they're using they're using the field a lot more, and that is, you know, not only is it a impressive-looking field, but it does exactly what we want, which is to make an extreme improvement in the number of people who can use that field. And that was the goal all along, to get the maximum use out of a big piece of land that's right in the center of our, you know, of our town, and it's a wonderful thing. I'm really glad to see it getting used. So.
And I'll add, it's exciting to see all the kids being able to use it, because, you know, on night 2, our band was out there practicing, and that's something they've never been able to do before, just because it tears up the field. And so it's exciting to see all the kids be able to use it and participate, and that's really what it should be about.
All right. Future topics, we're going to have a board bond advisory meeting on Monday, September 11, followed by a work session in our administrative room across the way here in this building. I'll invite you back to those meetings if you'd like to come. Now, if I could get a motion to move into closed session.
I move the Grand Ledge Public Schools Board of Education move into closed session for the purpose of discussing negotiation strategies as per Section 8C of the Open Meetings Act, Public Act 267 of 1976.
A roll call vote.
Mrs. DeFort,
Yes.
Mr. Shiflett.
Yes.
Mrs. Winstanley,
Yes.
Mrs. Wassick,
Yes.
Mr. McKinnon,
Yes.
Mrs. Clark Pearson.
Yes.